Let me stop you right there. This is not a cinnamon roll, and that was on purpose. I love cinnamon rolls. They're fantastic. Matter of fact, I have a recipe for them, but this is something else entirely. This is something special, and it doesn't require that much more effort. In fact, maybe even slightly less because you don't have to make an icing. It's very much like a cinnamon roll, yet the flavor is even deeper. It has a fragrance to it. It has a little bit of cardamom to it, a little spiciness to it, but also the dough is like a rich brioche, and the bottoms will have become beautifully caramelized. And the surprising thing is, I think anyone can make this. So that being said, let's make this, shall we? We'll start by making our dough and filling, then we'll shape, bake, and serve. It's a simple recipe with incredible results. Woo! We're making cinnamon buns, not cinnamon rolls. But you could use them as an alternative to cinnamon rolls. These are the best cinnamon morsels you'll ever have, like I said, and it starts with a dough. You don't have to use a stand mixer, but I would highly recommend that you use a stand mixer because it just makes the mixing process so much easier in this particular case because there is a lot of butter in the dough. So you're gonna start with 1 cup plus 2 teaspoons whole milk, which has been warmed, by the way. That's lukewarm, around 95 Fahrenheit. And then you're gonna add
1 tablespoon plus 2 teaspoons, or 12 grams of active dry yeast.
I know it's a lot, but you have a lot of fat in this, and I'm just honestly compensating for that. Give that a little mix. 1 whole egg, ideally room temperature, but if it's cold, that's fine too. Give that a little whisk.
1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon, or 65 grams of granulated sugar.
2 teaspoons of cardamom. 1 tablespoon plus a ½ teaspoon of fine sea salt. It's a lot of salt, really important to balance this dough out. I think a lot of recipes just do not put enough salt in their dough and you end up with sort of a bland tasting sweet roll dough. I want this dough to be like bang, dude, bang, bang. Dude, it's not even fucking February yet at the date of filming this and I'm already going fucking clinical right now. So we got our dough hook attachment. Start this on low, very low speed. We're gonna add
4 1/3 cups, or
650 grams of bread flour. You're gonna add your bread flour about a ½ cup at a time till all of it's added, and then you're gonna add 3/4 of a cup plus a tablespoon of fully softened, unsalted butter. And you're gonna mix that on low speed for about 4 minutes or until the dough starts to come together. Now, in that first 4 minutes, you may have to drop this and kind of scrape down the sides a couple times if necessary, and then just let it keep going. Okay, last step, it's been 4 minutes. Now we're gonna increase the speed to medium speed, and we're gonna let it mix for another 10 minutes or until we have a smooth, voluptuous dough. So walk away, go to the bathroom, be sure to wash your hands. Find something to do, 10 minutes. All right, it's pulling from the sides of the bowl, the dough is smooth. That means something, and it means you're done. Making the dough, at least, well, sort of. Right, lower the bowl, take the damn thing off. Look at that, dude. Okay, if your dough is super sticky and just not cohesive, like you can't pull it out like this, you either need more mixing time or you might need to add a little bit of flour, but hopefully that did not happen. So take it out, always sniff it. This is part of the process. The reason you sniff it is so you look forward for what is to come. Ugh. It smells fragrant of cardamom, sweet, it's buttery, it's rich, it's smooth. I'm just gonna give it a few extra kneads to get it into the shape I'm looking for. I mean, it's so soft and supple. This is a good dough. I will say it is important to get adequate gluten development. Because of all the fat in here, it takes a while. That's why you end up having the mixer knead it for 10 minutes. And once you have that smooth dough, you can see that it's not sticking to anything. See if I can stretch this until you can basically see to the other side. You can see my finger poking back there. That is called a window pane test. And if it's passing that, whoo, you got a good dough on your hand. All right, so I'm gonna shape this. You can even give it a couple slap and folds if you want to. Shape it into a rough ball. Make sure to seal the bottom completely. We got a large bowl, grease that lightly. Add your lovely dough in there. I like to flatten mine out just a little bit so I can actually tell the progress of its rising. So when it rises, it'll start to sort of dome. Cover that with plastic wrap. You can also use a damp towel. Let that rise for about 45 to 60 minutes or until close to, if not doubled in size. Room temperature. Cinnamon roll, you gotta have a little buttery sugar filling. So we have a lot of butter, 200 grams on the dot, which is like 3/4 of a cup.
Plus 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter softened.
You don't have to use an electric mixer. You can do this completely by spatula, but I use an electric mixer just to make it easier to mix. So cream that as much as you can. First, we're gonna add 50 grams, or roughly 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar. Beat that in. Before I add the majority of my light brown sugar, I'm gonna add 1½ teaspoons of fine sea salt, tablespoon or 10 grams of ground cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of ground cardamom. Beat that all together. And finally, 200 grams of light brown sugar, or 1 cup packed. Okay, so this is mixed. Oh yeah, that looks great. It's really important that your butter is fully softened. Please don't try and throw a cold brick in there. Just like microwave it 5-second intervals until it's as soft as possible, not liquid. You want it to be stiff enough that it holds itself together like so, but also smooth enough that you can spread it. Now, let's put it in our dough. I have a beautiful dough right here. Risen. Oh God. And it smells, it looks stunning. I'm gonna lightly press out some of that gas in there. It's a little under doubled in size. Ideally, you wanna bring it to doubled, but if it's 3/4 the way up, that's fine. So we're gonna lightly flour our board. We're gonna take our dough out. We're gonna roll this out into a rectangle. It's about 22 inches long, 15 inches wide. So we get the bottom floured, flour the top. I'll be honest, I'm not the best at rolling out rectangles. It's okay if it's not a perfect rectangle. You know, if it's more of like an oval, that's fine. All right, so our dough's been rolled out. Look at that, nice and thin. Oh, you can smell the spiciness, the fragrance from the cardamom, which is exactly what I want. So we're a little over 22 inches, but we're 22 inches and then a little over 15 inches, that's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect, it's more of like a marker, but I would try not to go under. It's better to go a little over than to go a little under. Now, we're gonna add our cinnamon cardamom butter. There's a few ways you can spread this on. You can just kind of glob it on and spread it out. I actually like to do little dots. This part is not a science. I mean, I just do this to make it easier to spread. You could just fucking fiddly fart it on there and call it a day. It kind of already gets you spread out by doing this method. If you put it all in the center and try to spread it out, sometimes the dough stretches or flattens in one area. This just kind of gets you a head start on being evenly spread out. All right, so you can use your spatula. You can use an offset spatula, like one of these guys, pastry spat, and just kind of get in there. You're gonna spread a thin layer of this across your entire dough. I would leave little to no bordering. You can leave a tiny 1/2-inch border at most, maybe. All right, so we're just about there. Make sure it's even in how it's spread. You don't really want one spot to have more than the other. Don't spend so much time here. You're wasting hours getting the perfect little edge because your dough's gonna rise at that point. But you know, do your best to keep it even. That's all I'm saying. Boom. That looks nice to me. Now, we're gonna fold this like a business letter. You know, you're sending a little message to somebody saying, this is really good, and if you don't eat this, I was gonna say you're gonna get fat, but this will probably do that, actually. So we're gonna take the left side and fold that over towards the center. I wanna make sure it evenly covers the dough, push out any air bubbles, make sure there aren't any in there. If there's any excess flour here, this is a good moment to kind of brush that off. Make sure that there's no sort of anti-sticking agent on here, because what we're gonna do next is fold our other side of the dough over this like that. Try to go edge to edge, pat it out. And then you're just going to lightly sort of roll this out to get out any air bubbles. We want it to be completely connected, one singular piece. At this point, it is important you try to keep this relatively even. Don't try to go too crazy, put very little pressure. We're already a little over 8 inches wide, so I just wanted a touch longer. Just carefully pick this up and rotate. And I want this guy to go up to 24 inches. So we're gonna flour that side over, flour this side, just roll that out. Now is the fun part. So we're gonna split these into about 1 inch wide strips. I use the measuring tape just to be accurate, right? You don't have to, you could eyeball it, but if you eyeball it, I can almost guarantee you're gonna end up with an odd number. You're gonna end up with less or more. You're gonna have one that's huge, one that's small. If you have measuring tape, I don't wanna know why you have it, but I want you to use it. So first I'm making small 1-inch markers along the entire dough. Hypothetically, you should get exactly 24 of these if it's 24 inches long, right? You don't have to do the marker thing if you don't want to. But if you do, it'll make your cutting life a little easier. And then so you basically just find your little marker, and then you're gonna cut straight across in as straight of a line as you can. Do try to keep them consistent. I imagine if you worked in a bakery doing this though, it's probably not fun because you're just like sick and tired of doing this. And then one day you end up like going right over your finger and you're like, oh great, awesome, cool, I'm going to the hospital. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24. I will say the ends sometimes don't end up being perfect. But look at this! You have a beautiful cinnamon stripe running through this. Now, you're ready to shape these. You're gonna take one of your strips, and I want you to very delicately and gently stretch it out a little. I want a little more length on this. Start from the center, light pressure, and I'm just kind of dragging my fingers out, lightly stretching. I kind of slap it down. So you're gonna stretch this out to roughly 18 to 20 inches. Once the filling starts to come out, stop stretching it. Now that you have it lengthened out, I want you to kind of twist your dough so you get a little bit of a braid look to it, like that. You can twist it 2, 3, 4 times. It depends on how braided you want it to look. And then you're gonna take this and you're gonna twist it around your finger 2 times. 1, 2, and then you're gonna take your twisted dough, and I want you to go over the top like that. So you see how it's now gone around twice, and now it's going over the top of it. You can now remove your fingers, and you're going to take this sort of hangy bit here, stretch that, and kind of stuff it underneath itself. And you'll end up with this sort of beautiful little braided ball that looks like that. And then you're gonna repeat that with all of your dough strips. Call a friend, call a neighbor, get your roommate to do it. In fact, maybe make them do it and you go have fun. Just kidding, this is more fun. Make your roommate watch you do it. Make them sit there silently, no music, lock their phone away. They're gonna watch you make this. All right, so you've done it. You have all your coily balls. You have 2 options. Option 1, you put it on a baking sheet, right? These can obviously stand up on their own and they get voluminous and it's fine. Or option 2, you can put them in a muffin tin. I'm doing a muffin tin because first of all, it contains the shape. I like the idea that they develop a bottom that they can stand on. I like that look. You don't have to do that. You can throw it on a baking sheet if you don't have muffin tins, but there's another hidden benefit to the muffin tin, and that is you can take more butter, softened butter, pastry brush, and then just brush each tin with a little bit of softened butter, a thin veneer of butter, if you will. Doesn't need a lot. You'll brush each and every one until they're thoroughly coated. And once you've brushed all these, you're gonna take a little bit of light brown sugar and just sprinkle it in those tins. Not a lot. We're talking like less than a teaspoon, maybe even just a half teaspoon. And then you'll rub that sugar around, sort of coat the bottom. You can even shake it out so it sort of sticks to where the butter is. And then we're ready to put our balls in here. Now, this only applies to the muffin tin. It's not gonna work if you use a sheet tray. If you use a sheet tray, just do sheet tray parchment paper, put them on and proof them. Now, for this, we're gonna take each of these, we're gonna place them nicely into each muffin tin. You'll notice that they fit literally perfectly. The other reason I love the muffin tins is, especially for beginners, is if you didn't coil these perfectly or you didn't wrap them up perfectly, maybe you have a loose end kind of sticking out, it's not gonna unravel when it bakes, it's all contained. If you put it on a baking sheet and you coil it incorrectly, guess what's gonna happen? It's just gonna and you don't want that. That sucks. It's a lot of work for that to happen. So there's also the safeguard when using a muffin tin. All right, now, at this stage, you're gonna wrap these in grease plastic wrap and let them
Proof at room temperature until 1.5 times
their current size.
Doubled is also fine. That'll take roughly 1 hour.
Now we're gonna make our egg wash, which is consisting of 1 whole egg and 2 tablespoons of whole milk. And you're just gonna whisk that together until thoroughly combined and homogeneous. And our egg wash is ready. Okay, these have risen for about an hour. Depending on your temperature, they may take 30 minutes, but you want them to look fuller. Now at this stage, you're gonna take your egg wash, you're just gonna lightly brush each of them, making sure just to coat it nicely. This is gonna help them rise, but it's also gonna give them a nice light browning. Just a little help on the browning. There's also a lot of butter in this, so it doesn't need that much help, let's be honest. Now this part is optional. I think it looks nice. It also gives them kind of a more traditional sort of Scandinavian look, which is to add a little sprinkle of pearl sugar on the top. Not a lot, a little tiny pinch. I've kind of combined 2 different baked goods in one. The inspiration of the Danish cardamom bun, and then the Swedish cinnamon bun, which is, I think, Cannonbuller. This is the name. This is the Swedish one. Just kind of mixing the 2, and then adding a little Swedish pearl sugar never hurt anybody, right? Now, these are gonna go into a 375-degree oven for about 18 to 20 minutes or until golden brown on top and the bottoms have caramelized. All right, these are done. Look at that. Let them cool for about 2 to 3 minutes in their little casing. You can then remove them, place them on a wire rack, let that cool for 5 to 10 minutes. And look, you can serve these completely cool, but I would recommend serving them while they're still warm. If they do cool all the way down and you're gonna serve them to a bunch of people, you might wanna give them a little reheat in the oven just till they're warm. Look at these beauties. Caramelized on the bottom. I mean, glossy, perfect. The top's burnished brown, but also a little bit of that soft dough peeking underneath. They're crisp and chewy, but how chewy? I don't just smell cinnamon, I also smell the fragrance of cardamom. That is better than most cinnamon rolls, by far. The texture of the dough is almost like monkey bread-esque in the sense of like ooey gooey on the inside. It's so soft, it's so buttery and rich. The caramelized bottom, your teeth kind of clink up against it and then crack through like creme brulee, and it's chewy. Like the fragrance of the cinnamon goes so perfectly with the cardamom. It almost makes me ask, why wasn't there always cardamom with cinnamon? It's like they're just born to be together. It's perfectly sweet, but not too sweet. The dough seasoned perfectly. I mean, this is a perfect baked good. Why are we even making cinnamon rolls anymore? We should be making this. And now's your chance. The link's in the description. Don't forget, the recipe's free as always. Just click the link if you want the written version, or you can follow along here. Love you so much. Subscribe. Bye.